Today we are going to analyze how supply side measures can be used by the government in order to achieve the macroeconomic aims, like macroeconomic aims of national income growth, low inflation, low unemployment, balance of payment equilibrium and stable exchange rate. So when government was using the demand side policies, so those policies were only achieving one of the macroeconomic aim and the rest can be in the policy conflict. Like if government was designing to reduce unemployment by using the reflationary fiscal and monetary policies, so whenever government was successful to reduce unemployment, at the same time government was facing inflationary pressure in the country due to increase in money supply. Okay, so only one of the aim can be achieved by using demand side policies. And right now, what is going to happen? Government can use the supply side policies which can affect the aggregate supply rather than aggregate demand. And in the long run, government will be able to achieve all of the macroeconomic aims. So, what are the tools of supply side policies? Tools of supply side policy. One is called tax and subsidy. Okay. Second tool is education and training. A third tool is about privatization and deregulation policy of the government. Okay, fourth policy tool can be these are called income policies, in which government deals with the trade unions to stabilize their incomes. Education and training, privatization and more import of technology, you can say, technological changes. Alright. Or import of raw material and technologies allowed by the government. Now first of all, I will explain each of the policy tool of supply side policies. Tax and subsidies, like we know, when indirect taxes are reduced or subsidies are provided, they will increase the aggregate supply in the economy. When government is announcing that they are going to subsidize majority of the products where cost of production is high and our goods are cost incompetitive, so in order to increase their cost competitiveness, government provides them subsidies or reducing the indirect taxes. Okay, that will cause a rightward shift in the aggregate supply curve. Another case in which direct taxes can increase the aggregate supply. How they can increase? Like if government is reducing corporate tax, profit tax, like right now if we say the corporate profit tax rate is 40% of the profit. So that will discourage investment in the country and this is causing disincentive for the new investors to invest in the economy. So when government reduces corporate taxes on profits, investment opportunities will be more created and there will be more supply of goods and services in the market. Or government decreases income tax rates. In developed countries, when income tax rate is highly progressive, people get retired in their early ages, like when they reach to 50 years of age, they get retired. Why are they getting retired? The reason behind it is that if they are able to earn more income, most of their income will be taken by the government in the form of progressive taxes, like 50% to 60% of their income is taken as the income tax. So this will be causing disincentive to hard work. So when government reduces progressive income tax rates, like from 70% to 30%, so that will give the incentives to the people who were previously getting retired in order to receive the pensions. Now they will keep on working in the economic activities rather to get retired. They will continue their services to the country. So as a result, we will have more labor force present wage competitiveness will also be increasing, and now there will be more supply of goods and services. So first of all, I have explained how taxes and subsidies, both direct and indirect taxes and subsidies, can affect the aggregate supply in the economy. The second thing, education and training. We know if we are having many of the workers available over here, but they are uneducated and untrained, they cannot be employed until unless they are educated and trained. So what government does? Government provides them such a level of education to improve their skills and make them trained as well, that they are able to get a good job in their production units or wherever the production of goods and services that's taking place. So education and training will increase the productivity of workers, and when productivity has increased, per unit cost of production will fall, and again aggregate supply will shift rightward. Okay? Due to increasing productivity of labor when they are trained and they are educated as well. The privatization policy, previously government was holding many of the state-owned enterprises and they are inefficient as well. So when they are having inefficiency, they are lacking profit motivation. So what happens? Less goods and services are produced because majority of the firms, they are controlled and owned by the state. Now what government does? Government starts selling them to the private sector, and now private sector will increase investment in the country through privatization, and competition environment will be created by the government. After privatization and deregulation means what? Government will uplift the barriers which have stopped the private investments. Like no one is allowed to supply electricity generation in our country. So this is regulated market. So when government removes this regulation, what happens? New electricity generation companies will be entering into the market, and more supply of electricity at lower cost can be available to the consumers and the producers. Same is the case previously. PTV was, Pakistan Television was the only channel to provide us entertainment and news and sports services. Market was highly regulated. No one was allowed to have the private channels. So when this regulation was uplifted, market was deregulated, so more private channels, they have started supplying their services in all the areas of entertainment, sports and news channels. So they have created more employment, and more competition has increased the supply of these services to the country. So aggregate supply has increased. Income policies means what? You know, trade union is always claiming the higher wages because of high inflation rate in the country. So what government does? Government makes an agreement in their incomes, like government is reducing taxes, indirect taxes, direct taxes, so their real disposable incomes will rise. Disposable income means what? After tax income. But due to increase in aggregate supply, price level in the country will also be decreasing. So what government does? Government makes an agreement with the trade unions that you will not be claiming the higher wages for the 2 years or 3 years, as we are taking measures to reduce the prices in the country. So when price level, general price level is declining, your real wages will rise. Okay, so by this agreement, trade union strikes will be stopped and aggregate supply will again be increasing, because more workers will be interested to work, because now real wages of the workers, they are increasing. And the last can be the technological changes. If government allows the import of new technology, which will increase the productivity of workers as well, and more output could be produced, and per unit cost of production of the farms, that will be decreasing. Or one more step, government is spending on infrastructure like road network. Government is having more dams, more seaports developed, and more of the dry ports which will be developed. So in that case, what is happening? In the long run, more economic activities will be taking place, because infrastructure, this is a long-term project this will give us more economic potential to improve the economic growth of the country in the long run. Okay, anyhow, I'm going to draw the diagram over here. What is going to happen to our economic growth? This is real GDP. This is general price level. This is long run aggregate supply curve. Previously, economy is operating at this point. This is the economy is operating at Y1. This is E1, and this is the price level in the country. So when these measures are taken, both in short term, but these are the measures which will show their effects in the long run mainly. So in long run aggregate supply curve will be shifting rightward, and what is going to happen? Real economic growth has increased, prices have gone down. So what is happening if you look around? What is happening actually? Inflation rate is decreasing. What is happening? Inflation falls. Real GDP that has also increased. Economic growth aim is also achieved. Low inflation aim is also achieved. In order to produce more goods and services, employment will increase, or in other words, unemployment that will decrease. Clear? So all the three aims, the domestic aims of any macroeconomic aims of any government, they have been achieved by using this supply side measure. What happens to the foreign sector? As we see, our price level has gone down. Prices, this is equilibrium 2, where prices have been decreased than before. So whenever domestic goods are having lower prices, people will not be buying the imported goods. So imports, they will decrease. And fall in general price level will increase the cost competitiveness of our exports. Export price competitiveness will be improving as our cost of production has gone down. Therefore, exports can also rise. Alright? So can I say our external problem is also provided a solution where we are finding balance of trade deficit. Now this trade account is also showing us the positive signs that exports revenues they are increasing and import expenditures they are declining. Clear or not? Exchange rate can also be stable. How? It is also stabilized. How it is stabilized? Because of less imports and high exports, our exchange rate stability can also be achieved. So what is said? By using the supply side measures, government is able to achieve these domestic aims and international linkages like balance of trade and exchange rate, they can also be improved. So all macroeconomic aims they have been achieved by using a single policy, that is supply side policy. Clear? But what is the problem with this type of supply side policy? That most of the governments they are not moving into supply side measures rather than the fiscal or monetary measures. The reason is they are the long-term policies. They will increase the long-term potential of the country. They are not providing us short-term solutions. Like if we are spending more on infrastructure development, so it is not in a 1 year we will be able to achieve all these aims. It will take 5 years, 10 years. If we are constructing dams, in order to have more water reservoirs and more electricity in future, it will take more than 10 years to have dam in our country. If we are having the development of Dhuagar Port or CPEC project, so it is not a 1 year project, it will take many years to be in functional form, and that will give us a potential economic growth. Okay, so and another thing, when government is decreasing taxes, on the other side government is spending the long term projects, spending on long-term projects, so it is going to face a budget deficit. When spending are higher than the tax revenues, budget deficit can arise. So in order to finance that budget deficit, when taxes are decreased, so government needs to borrow money. The national debt can rise. Clear? Although they have very positive signs, but there are conflicts as well. Short-term conflicts are more stronger than the long-term. So what government does? Government actually implements the short-term demand-side policies like fiscal and monetary, and government is also going to improve the long-term potential in the form of supply-side policy. If I say, after 10 years, at which stage our economy should be? The government should spend on the infrastructure development to have more dams, more electricity plannings, more better road networks, more better dry ports and airports after the 10 years. So along with our demand side tools, if we are spending on long-term projects as well, so in future, the problems which could be faced by the country, if we have spent money at today's time or present time, they can be better managed. But if we rely only on the supply side policies and we are not using the demand side measures, so in that case, these policies will be more risky and they can create more budget deficits and they may not give us the good results even in the long run because of the deficiency of budgets. Clear? That's all about our supply side measures. How supply side measures can affect the economic performance of a country. Clear? So, thank you.